You know, for any business, whether it's a tiny startup or a massive global company, there's this constant journey, right? This quest for quality. It's all about refining, improving, and just striving to be better. But that's the big question, isn't it? How do you actually manage something so important?
So, the source material we're digging into today really frames this whole thing with a powerful line. It says, quality is a measure of perfection. Wow. I mean, it's not just about being good enough, is it? It's about aiming for a standard that truly, deeply meets what your customers actually need.
And yeah, that brings us right to the big problem. I mean, perfection sounds great, but how in the world do you manage it? How do you control it, measure it, and improve it? You can't just cross your fingers and hope for quality to happen. You gotta have a plan.
Okay, so this is where we get practical. We're moving away from just the big ideas. See, quality isn't just some buzzword people throw around. It's a system, a real system designed to meet customer needs and make you more efficient. And like any system, you gotta have the right tools for the job. And this is really the key takeaway. Quality doesn't just happen. You don't get lucky and stumble into it. No, it has to be designed. It's all about moving from maybe this will work to having a deliberate, structured way to find and crush problems.
So, how do we actually do that? Well, we need a toolbox. And for that, we can give a big shout out to a Japanese professor named Kaoru Ishikawa. His goal was pretty revolutionary, actually. He wanted to take process improvement away from just the experts and put it in the hands of every single person in a company.
And here they are, the 7 basic tools of quality. Think of this as your go-to problem-solving kit. You've got tools for collecting data, like the check sheet, tools for figuring out what's most important, that's the Pareto chart, and tools for finding the root cause of a problem. They each have a special job. But today, we're going to start with the one that's really the foundation for everything else, the flowchart.
And hey, don't let their simplicity fool you. Ishikawa himself claimed that with just these 7 tools, you could solve up to 95% of quality-related problems. 95%. That is absolutely massive for a set of tools that anybody can learn.
All right, let's dive in. The flow chart. I'm sure you've seen them, but their power in quality control is just huge. The best way to think about it, it's like an architect's blueprint, but instead of for a building, it's for a process.
So what is it, really? A flowchart is basically a visual map. It just lays out all the steps, all the actions, and all the decisions in any workflow. It could be something as simple as making coffee or as complex as a huge multi-million-dollar order fulfillment system. And the cool thing is, they use a simple standard language. That kind of oval or elongated circle, that's your start or your end point. A rectangle, that's an action, something you do. And the diamond, that's the important one. That's a decision, a yes or no question that splits the path.
Okay, now this is where it all clicks. Just look at how versatile this thing is. On one side, you've got a flow chart for fixing a broken lamp. Super simple. On the other, you've got a complex business order entry process. But look closely. The tool, the symbols, the logic, it's the exact same. It shows you how this one simple idea can scale from a tiny problem to massive business operations.
But here's the thing. The real magic of a flowchart isn't just drawing pretty boxes and arrows. No way. Its true power is what it shows you. It takes a process that's just kind of invisible, something everyone just knows, and it makes it completely visible and concrete for the whole team to see.
And honestly, this is usually the biggest aha moment. You get a team in a room to map out a process, and they almost always find out that how they think it works is totally different from how it actually works. A flowchart takes all those vague complaints and turns them into an objective, visual map of the problem that nobody can argue with.
And once you have that map, the problems practically jump right off the page at you. The first thing you'll probably spot, bottlenecks. You can literally see where things are getting stuck, where work is piling up, causing all those delays and all that frustration.
It also shines a huge spotlight on waste. Are there steps you're doing twice? Are there these silly loops where things just go back and forth for no good reason? All that stuff that adds zero value to the customer, it becomes painfully obvious once you see it laid out like this.
And maybe the most important thing of all, it gets everybody on the same page. The flowchart becomes the single source of truth. There's no more arguing about, well, I do it this way. It's right there in black and white. And that shared understanding, that is the absolute foundation you need before you can make any real improvements.
Okay, so we get it, right? We know what a flowchart is. We know why it's so dang powerful. So how do you actually make one? let's get practical. It's actually a lot more straightforward than you might think.
Here we go. 6 basic steps. First, you just define the start and end points. What's the scope of this thing? Then you brainstorm and list out all the steps and decisions. Get them in the right order, draw the chart with those symbols we talked about, and listen, this part is so important. You check it with the people who actually do the job every day. The final step is to analyze it, to hunt for those bottlenecks and that waste.
And this is the really crucial point to remember. Making the flowchart isn't the goal. It's not the end. It's a tool. It's a diagnostic. Think of it like an X-ray that shows you exactly where the break is. The real work, the fixing, the improving, that all starts after the chart is done. It is 100% the starting line for improvement, not the finish line.
So I'll leave you with this question. Think about your own job, your own team. What's that one process that's just kind of invisible? The one everyone just assumes works a certain way, but nobody's ever actually drawn it out. What hidden problems and simple fixes might you find just by making it visible?